يا راغبا في كل علم نافع.
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن، والسيرة العلياء عطرة الشدى طيب يفوح لأهل كل زمان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه. أما بعد, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam was not a person of tragedy, of sadness, someone who would always radiate sorrow and depression. A'udhu billah. But at the same time, the Prophet ﷺ was not a stand-up comedian, because this is not befitting of a proper Muslim, let alone the Prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal. The Prophet was a man of balance, which meant that whenever you looked at him, you would feel positivity. You will get a feeling of comfort and relaxation. His face, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, was a face of someone that gave you hope. And this is why whoever looked at him was inclined to listen, to be with him, to try to hang out with the Prophet ﷺ, because they've benefited just by being with him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The Prophet laughed, but his laughter was a smile. And this smile was either to be kind to others, to spend quality time with his wives so that his companions would feel good, or to participate with others in their joy and jubilation. Sometimes he would smile, approving something he heard, or to indicate that it was correct. Sometimes the situation was funny, so the Prophet would smile, alayhi salatu wasalam, or he would be astonished of something, so that he would smile to express his astonishment. However, he would not crack in laughter with a high pitch or a high sound. He would not fall on his back out of laughter, or tears would come out of his eyes like some people may do. Abdullah ibn al-Harith, may Allah be pleased with him, said the Prophet's laughter was merely smiling, alayhi salatu wassalam. And Mother Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, says, I never saw the Prophet ﷺ laughing so much that I could see his uvula. Rather, he only smiled. And his smile, the max it would be to show his molar teeth. This is the biggest smile and laughter that the Prophet would give, alayhi as-salatu was-salam. This, as Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar indicates, shows that the Prophet ﷺ was a human being. Yes, he may weep when sad things happen, but he surely smiles when funny things happen, or when he is happy and radiating happiness among his wives, children, and companions. But he would never exceed the limit where it would deprive him of dignity. The way we see some people laugh or fall on their backs out of extreme laughter and the sounds they make, that would not be something that the Prophet would engage in, alayhi salatu wassalam. The Prophet used to smile and have a good time with his wives. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, our mother, said when the Prophet came from the expedition of Tabuk or from Khaybar, there was something in her cabinet. So when the wind blew, it unveiled dolls that Mother Aisha used to play with as a young girl. So she was asked by the Prophet of Allah, "Oh Aisha, what is this?" And she said, "O Prophet of Allah, these are my dolls." Then he saw among them a horse with two wings, made of cloth. So he inquired again, "And what is this that I see in the midst of them?" And she said, "A horse." So the Prophet says, "What is this on it?" Asking about the two wings. So she said, "A horse with two wings." So the Prophet ﷺ said in surprise, "A horse with two wings?" So she said to him, "Have you not heard that Sulaiman, the Prophet of Allah, had a horse with wings?" So the Prophet ﷺ laughed in such a way, Mother Aisha says, that I could see his molars. Look at the kindness of the Prophet ﷺ, how he would appreciate this young girl's feelings and how he would come down to her level to show her that this is something that is fine to play with for a young girl like you. Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, though he was known among his companions, we know how strong and tough he was, yet he says when a man is with his family, he should behave like a child, like a young boy. It is not befitting for a person to be among his wife and his kids as a general. Do this, don't do that. Without having any humor, without cracking jokes, without being joyful and playful with them. Umar says, may Allah be pleased with him, he should be like a boy with his family. But when the tough gets going, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. When it's required for him to show how strong and decisive he is as a man, then that should be clear. Zayd ibn Thabit, may Allah be pleased with him, one of the greatest people in knowledge and in Quran among the companions. He was the most humorous man among his family. But when he went out of the house, he was a man among men. And this is the description we find most of the time about Arabs and how they describe their men, how they used to be joyful and funny and humorous when they were with their wives, but when they went out of the house, they were serious and they were a different person. We have a problem of the opposite. When we see that men, when they're out with their friends, when they associate themselves with their acquaintances, they're funny, they're generous, they're humorous, they're fun to be with. The moment they enter their homes, they change into a beast, to a different person. They become so strict, so grumpy. You barely see a smile, and you barely engage in them with communication. This is not the characteristics of a true Muslim who loves the Prophet ﷺ and takes him as a role model. Our Prophet ﷺ encouraged this atmosphere between the spouses where they would laugh, joke, and have a good time. The Prophet ﷺ, in the hadith of Jabir ibn Abdullah, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, when he told the Prophet that he got married, so the Prophet asked him, did you marry a virgin or someone who was previously married? This in Arabic is something not to be hidden, in the sense that a person marrying a virgin is different when he's marrying a woman who was married before, widowed, or divorced. And this is different when in spending nights, in the contract of the marriage, so something that is known. A woman was previously married. So he said, Abikran am thayyib? What did you marry? So he said, I took someone who was previously married. So the Prophet said, why did you not marry a young woman, meaning a virgin, who you could play with and she could play with you, or you could laugh with her and she could laugh with you? Does this mean that a woman who was previously married would not be as entertaining? No. But the norm is, if you have not been previously married, you should pick and choose someone like you. And Jabir explained to the Prophet ﷺ that his father was martyred and he left a number of sisters, younger sisters to him, and he did not want to bring someone who's naive and inexperienced and add her to them. So he wanted to bring someone who had a good experience so that she would take care of them. And such a wife would create an environment where both spouses would have a good life. The Prophet ﷺ also smiled whenever he joined his companions and sat with them. Simak ibn Harb said, I asked Jabir ibn Samurah, may Allah be pleased with him, were you used to sit with the Prophet ﷺ? You know, the tabi'een would ask the companions about how they interacted with the Prophet ﷺ to learn from them. And he said, Jabir said, yes, a great deal. I sat with the Prophet ﷺ more than hundreds of times. I can't even count them. He did not get up from his place in which he had prayed Fajr until the sun rose. So this is one of the sunnahs, to remain after praying Fajr for an hour where you had prayed Fajr, remembering Allah, making dhikr. Then when the sun had risen, he would get up and leave. At the time they used to talk and reminisce about things that had happened before Islam. The companions, may Allah be pleased with them, sometimes chit-chatted. And the Prophet was there. He was listening. And they would probably talk about things they'd done pre-Islamic era. So they would laugh, such as one of them would say, oh, in the pre-Islamic era, I used to worship idols. And I used to make an idol statue made of dates. And I used to worship him. And whenever I got hungry, I would eat him. And that is so funny. How do you worship a God that you made with your own hands and then eat it afterwards? So the companions used to laugh of such memories, and the Prophet would laugh with them, which shows us that the Prophet ﷺ was not like most of us, scolding people, telling them off not to speak about this or that all the time. Some of us may act like the religious police, only pointing out bad things and indicating to people their faults. That wasn't our Prophet ﷺ. Yes, whenever the line was crossed, whenever there was haram, the Prophet would prevent it and stop them. But when it's memories like this, innocent, and they're proud of being Muslims, and they're just amazed how stupid things they've done before Islam, and where were their brains, they would laugh, and the Prophet would also laugh with them. هذا والله أعلم ونسبة العلم إليه أسلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد.
يا راغبا في كل علم نافع
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن، والسيرة العلياء عطرة الشدى طيب يفوح لأهل كل زمان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.